During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk a little about digging a hole on the farm.
Well, okay, so you think about it. If I want to dig a hole in a cornfield, well, the spot right behind us is perfect. We're right on the end. We don't have to destroy any crop. You could just go ahead and dig at any point during the year. That would be nice, but it's not going to be very good because we're right on the edge of the field. There's compaction. I mean, it's where all the tractors and everybody's driving into the field. What you want to do is be out in the field just a little bit so you can actually see what it's like in the rest of the field.
All right, so here's what we're trying to accomplish. We want to dig what we call root pits so we can see the root system of the corn plant or any plant that we're trying to raise. And some of the things that we're looking for, number one would be, where are our compaction layers at? Two is, how good is that overall root system? Do we have other issues out there? It could be everything from root feeding from an insect to, oh, we've had disease issues. There are a whole bunch of things, and it's just eye-opening to farmers when they dig root pits and they can actually see, okay, not just above ground, but now they can see what's going on below ground too.
Okay, two key things here. If you're not a farmer and you're probably already wondering what some of this terminology is, first of all, compaction. When you drive out in a field or when you walk out in a field, the pressure from whatever's going across the ground, whether it's your body and your feet or whether it's a tractor tire, they're going to push down on that soil. And if they push down too much, they can compact the soil, make a hard layer. So when farmers are doing tillage, for example, let's just say they're doing tillage at 8 inches deep. If they continue to do tillage at 8 inches deep year after year after year, well, 8 inches down, there tends to be a hard compacted layer. And that's what we're talking about here, because if you've got that barrier where your roots can't get through that, that's going to limit how much water and how many nutrients they can access in the soil. Obviously, for farmers trying to raise big crops, we don't want any limits to the amount of water and nutrients that our roots can get to. The other thing here is, why do we even care about looking below the ground? Well, half of the plant is below the ground. So I realize 99.9% of the population drives by a field. All they care about is, well, how do things look above ground? Everything looks fine. Well, we're good. But if there's something that looks a little bit off, most people think, well, there must be some bug or some bad weather or something that is short with that crop. What they're forgetting to think about is it all starts with the root system. And if we're going to see something above ground, chances are we've got a problem with the root system. Either it's limited and can't explore enough soil, or like Brian said, there's a disease or a bug or something impacting it. So for farmers or anyone with a garden, a lawn, whatever, it's just critical to know what's happening below the ground. So you've got a great opportunity. All you have to do is dig. It doesn't cost anything to do it, although you may have to rip up a few plants, and I know that made our dad really nervous the first time we did it.
Well, yeah, but every corn plant's only worth a penny or two. So let's say you rip up a couple hundred of them. Ooh, you got $2 to $4, okay? It's no big deal. And let me just tell you, going back to the very first root pit that we ever dug and how eye-opening it was for us. Okay, it was a year where it was pretty dry and you could see the corn above ground was suffering. So we dug a root pit about 4 feet deep, and you could see most of the roots were in that top 6 inches or so. And we came out the next morning after we dug the root pit, so it had been sitting there overnight, and there was water standing in the bottom of the pit. There's all kinds of water down below ground, and all our roots were right in the top 6 inches. Okay, so it didn't take me very long to figure out, we got a problem here. We've got to get our roots deeper. There's plenty of moisture down below. Our crop shouldn't be suffering. So that's when we started really addressing that compaction issue Darren already talked about.
So if you're a farmer, we encourage you, get out right now, dig a root pit in a couple of spots on your farm and take a look at what's happening below the ground. If you're a non-farmer, if you get a chance to go somewhere that has a root pit, take a look. It's really interesting to see what's happening below ground. Or maybe you've got a garden and you say, well, heck, I could do that on the end of my garden and just see what my root systems look like. It would be a great learning experience to find out what the other half of the plant is doing.
Well, the other good learning experience that's always available to you is scouting your fields. And when you're out there, look for our Weed of the Week. Can you identify this week's weed?